Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Richard and this is Lap of the World, your home for road trips and racetracks. We are indeed out in the world today. You'll note the NSX is behind me in a parking lot and not disassembled in my garage. We have finally come to a point of at least a temporary stopping point in our stereo rejuvenation saga. And as promised, probably 3 videos ago, I think, I did want to give you guys sort of an immersive demonstration of that. Now this is something I could have done in the garage with everything silent to get the full effect, but I think as we all know, it really only matters what the stereo sounds like when you're out driving in the world. You know, the NSX has its own soundtrack, which is really nice, but there are times, again, as I've mentioned, on long road trips and things like that, where you could, you know, need to break it up a little bit and have some tunes. So without any further ado though, let's go jump in, take a drive, and we'll give you guys a listen to a at least properly functioning speaker system in an NSX. Alright, so as we are getting started in our drive here, let me quickly recap for those who haven't been following from home. This all started a few weeks ago when I decided I was kind of over the sensory deprivation treatment on long trips and wanted to take a crack at reconstituting the stereo system in the NSX. My initial assumption was that the Bose speaker amps had failed, which is a pretty common thing, so I sent those off for repair. I got them back in good working order, but at the same time it seems that my head unit had failed, along with a couple of the individual speaker drivers. The actual cones and voice coils had just gone bad. So, after much ado, we have finally gotten back to the point of sort of a stable workaround, I'll call it, in which we have abandoned the stock head unit in favor of a simple line driver setup that I can run from a phone or other device. In this case, today we're going to be using an iPod. While I was doing this, which you wouldn't have seen in the last couple of videos, as I was buttoning things back up, I did add a couple of other things just as kind of as nice to haves. I got a remote USB adapter that I can run off of a 12-volt connection, and so now I now have a USB outlet in the passenger floorboard as well as a USB outlet in the console here, which I wanted to do that because that basically replicates the situation I had before with the stock head unit and a USA spec iPod adapter where the iPod will charge and play at the same time. So, having said all of that and kind of brought you up to speed on what's going on here, what I wanted to do today is come out and give you guys a listen at what a mostly factory fresh, again, stock NSX stereo should sound like. So, to do that, I'm going to pull over here real quick and get my POV set up on here, and we will then retrace our route and see what it sounds like. Before we get started, I do need you to appreciate the lengths that I go through to bring you guys this kind of experience. Okay, so we have our iPod down here now playing. I'm going to switch on the speakers. We should have noise. necessarily my usual listening fare, but kind of representative sample and dynamic range of what you might hear. Alright, well there you have it. That is hopefully what it sounds like to almost be driving my NSX with me with a finally, once again, functional stereo system. Now, as I've said before, this is not my final answer on the stereo. I would definitely like to get back to the point of having, knobs and buttons to actually control things with rather than having to futz around with an iPod or a device, as that can be, distracting even if I'm not looking at it, and I want to avoid anything like that. But for now, at least, we have music, can take long trips and not do so in silence. So I should probably go do something like sign up for a track day, right? I will let you know if and when that happens. But until then, and until next time, I'm Richard, this is Lap of the World, and I will see you guys in the next video, if not at the track.